Hey everyone! Welcome to Boo Boo Viral News, your go-to place for all viral updates. Today, we've got something exciting to talk about. Honey Boo Boo family. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. So, grab a seat and let's dive right in. Today, Chapter Honey Boo Boo family, we're unpacking a story that has sent shockwaves through the Mama June family crisis universe. A revelation so unexpected it threatens to redefine the very dynamics of the Shannon Efird clan. We're talking about Lauren Pumpkin Efird's stunning confession. She's in a new relationship, and the man who has captured her heart is none other than the cousin of her recent ex-husband Josh Efird. The bombshell, which dropped in a recent episode of the hit TV show, has left fans reeling and has ignited a firestorm of speculation, debate, and of course drama. For a family that has weathered more storms than most, this latest twist could prove to be the most turbulent yet. How did this happen? What does this mean for Pumpkin and Josh's already fragile co-parenting relationship? And how will the notoriously opinionated matriarch, Mama June, react to this tangled web of love and loyalty? In this in-depth analysis, we're going to break down everything we know so far. We'll explore the timeline of Pumpkin and Josh's separation, the whispers of infidelity that have long plagued their marriage, and the emotional fallout from their divorce. We'll dissect Pumpkin's own words about her newfound happiness, and delve into the fan theories that are setting social media ablaze. So grab your sweet tea, settle in, and get ready to unravel the latest chapter in the saga of Mama June's family crisis. To truly understand the gravity of Pumpkin's new romance, we need to rewind the clock and look back at her relationship with Josh Efird. Theirs was a love story that played out in the public eye, a teenage romance that blossomed into marriage, and a family of 4 beautiful children. Fans of the show have been invested in their journey for years, watching them navigate the ups and downs of young parenthood, financial struggles, and the ever-present chaos of being part of the Shannon family. From the outside, they often appeared to be the stable anchor in the often stormy sea of their reality TV lives. Pumpkin, in particular, was praised for stepping up and taking on a maternal role for her younger sister, Alana Honey Boo Thompson, when their mother, Mama June, was spiraling. Josh, despite his own immaturities, was often seen as a devoted father and a supportive husband. However, as with many reality TV narratives, the cracks in their seemingly perfect facade began to show. The pressures of raising a large family, coupled with the constant scrutiny of the public eye, took their toll. Rumors of infidelity began to circulate, with whispers of both Pumpkin and Josh straying from the marital bed. While these were often dismissed as baseless gossip by some, for others, the signs of a relationship in crisis were undeniable. The official confirmation of their split came as a shock to many. The couple, who had been together for decades, announced their separation, and the subsequent divorce proceedings laid bare the deep-seated issues that had been festering for years. In a particularly telling episode of Mama June Family Crisis, we saw the implementation of a nesting co-parenting arrangement, a logistical and emotional tightrope walk where the children remain in the family home while the parents take turns living there. This setup, while intended to provide stability for the children, often highlighted the growing chasm between Pumpkin and Josh. It's hard. 1 week, I'm with the kids, and the next I'm sleeping on a mattress at my warehouse. It's not the life I imagined for myself or for my family. The emotional toll of the separation was palpable. We saw tearful and seemingly heartbroken Josh lamenting the end of his marriage, while a more stoic and determined Pumpkin seemed focused on building a new life for herself and her children. It was during this period of transition and uncertainty that a new and completely unexpected chapter began to unfold. The revelation of Pumpkin's new relationship came in a candid conversation with her chapter the Revelation friend and colleague Paisley on a recent episode of Mama June Family Crisis. The scene was fraught with a nervous energy as Pumpkin, after swearing her friend to secrecy, finally unburdened herself of the secret she had been carrying. Pumpkin, I've been talking to someone. He messaged me on social media. We've known each other for a long time, since we were in school. His name is Darren. The initial part of the confession, while intriguing, wasn't the real bombshell. It was the next piece of information that left Paisley and viewers at home utterly speechless. Paisley, wait. Darren as in Josh's cousin. Pumpkin in the clip with a nervous laugh. Yeah, it's a little complicated. A little complicated is perhaps the understatement of the year. Chapter A Little Complicated. The news that Pumpkin is now dating her ex-husband's cousin has thrown a massive wrench into the already complex family dynamic. The immediate questions are obvious. How did this happen? When did it start? And most importantly, how will Josh react to this perceived betrayal? The internet, as you can imagine, has exploded with theories. Reddit threads and social media comments are a hotbed of speculation. Some fans believe that Pumpkin and Darren's relationship began long before her separation from Josh, pointing to alleged sightings and rumors that have been circulating for months. Others are more sympathetic to Pumpkin, arguing that she deserves to find happiness after a difficult marriage and that the heart wants what it wants, regardless of the complicated family ties. Let's break down the timeline as we currently understand it. Pumpkin and Josh's marriage was reportedly on for a significant period before their official split. During this time, it's been alleged by some that both parties were unfaithful. While these are just rumors, the speed with which Pumpkin moved on with someone so close to her ex-husband has certainly raised eyebrows. In her confession to Paisley, Pumpkin painted a picture of a man who is the polar opposite of what she had with Josh. She described Darren as sweet, someone who does things for me, without me having to ask. She spoke of going to new places and trying new things, a clear indication that she feels a sense of freedom and excitement. And this new relationship that was perhaps missing in her marriage. I'm in a much happier place now. Don't feel like have to beg for the bare minimum anymore. It's just there. This statement is a powerful indictment of her past relationship with Josh. It speaks to a deep-seated unhappiness and a feeling of being unappreciated. For many viewers, this sheds new light on her decision to end her marriage and move on so quickly. Of course, the million-dollar question in all of this is, what about Josh? How is he coping with the news that his ex-wife, the mother of his 4 children, is now dating a member of his own family? While we haven't seen his full reaction on the show yet, the previews for upcoming episodes promise a dramatic and emotional confrontation. Josh, my own cousin. How could she do this to me? This is a man who was already struggling with the end of his marriage. To add this layer of perceived betrayal to his pain is a recipe for explosive drama. The concept of family loyalty is a powerful one. And for Josh, this may feel like a line has been irrevocably crossed. However, the situation is not as black and white as Chapter Josh's new relationship it may seem. It's important to remember that Josh has also moved on. He is in a new relationship and has recently welcomed a child with his new partner. Something you absolutely won't want to miss, because the Mama June family crisis universe just took one of its wildest turns yet. Grab a seat, grab your sweet tea, and buckle up. Because this story isn't just new relationship messy. This is family tree, loyalty test, reality TV chaos at its finest. We're talking about Lauren Pumpkin Efird, and a confession that has fans split down the middle. Pumpkin is reportedly in a new relationship, and the man linked to her heart is said to be the cousin of her recent ex-husband, Josh Efird. Yes, you heard that right. Same family circle. Same last name orbit. And now, a brand new storm is brewing that could shake every fragile agreement they've tried to keep together for their kids. And the big question is, how did this happen? Was this something that slowly built behind the scenes? Or did it explode out of nowhere once the marriage finally ended? And even more important, what does this mean for co-parenting? Because when you share children, your personal choices don't stay personal for long. Every holiday, every birthday, every school event, every drop-off and pick-up. If emotions are still raw, and trust is already damaged, one unexpected romance can turn a tense situation into full-blown war. And let's be real, this isn't happening in a normal family. This is the Shannon Efird clan, where one headline can become 10 storylines overnight. So in this deep dive, we're breaking down everything we know so far, the timeline leading up to the split, the rumors that followed them for years, Pumpkin's own words about moving forward, and the fan theories lighting social media on fire. But before we jump into the new man details, we have to rewind, because if you don't understand Pumpkin and Josh's history, you won't understand why fans are calling this either a fresh start or the ultimate betrayal. Pumpkin and Josh's relationship wasn't a random short-term fling. For many viewers, it was the closest thing this family had to a stable anchor. A teenage romance that turned into marriage, then into a household with multiple kids, responsibilities, and non-stop pressure under a reality TV microscope. While Mama June's life was often defined by turbulence, public controversy, personal spirals, and constant reinvention, Pumpkin was the one people credited for holding things down. She wasn't just raising her own children. At times, she was also stepping into a protective maternal role for Alana Honey Boo Boo Thompson when the family needed structure. And that's why so many fans were emotionally invested. Pumpkin felt like the real one. The responsible one. the one who would always choose the kids first. Josh, on the other hand, was often shown as laid-back, sometimes immature, but still a present father. He wasn't perfect, but in the eyes of many viewers, they made sense together. Like they had grown up side by side and built a life from nothing. But reality TV doesn't show everything. And long before the official split, the whispers were always there. Fans noticed the tension, the distance, the shifting energy on camera, the subtle signs, separate vibes in scenes, less affection, more frustration, and that feeling that two people are trying to push through for the sake of the family. And then the rumors started doing what rumors always do in a public relationship. They multiplied. People speculated about trust issues, about emotional distance, about who was talking to who was liking what online, who was out late, who wasn't wearing a ring in a photo. When you're famous, every tiny detail becomes evidence to strangers. And once the audience believes your relationship is cracking, they start looking for the moment it breaks. Then came the separation era, the phase where everything feels undefined. Not officially over, but not truly together. And that's the most dangerous stage for any family with kids, because it creates confusion, instability, and emotional landmines. Because one person might still feel married in their heart, while the other feels single in their mind. One person might be grieving, while the other is already searching for peace. And if there were already accusations, whether proven or not, then even simple conversations start sounding like battles. Co-parenting becomes a negotiation. Friends become sides. Family gatherings become awkward. And in this case, the family isn't just family. It's a shared public brand. Their personal life is content. Their emotions are episodes. Their arguments are story arcs. So when Pumpkin's alleged new romance enters the picture, and it's connected to Josh's own family tree, it hits differently. Because it doesn't just look like moving on. To many fans, it looks like a statement. Like a choice that guarantees Josh will never fully escape her presence, even in his own family circle. And to others, it looks like something even more complicated. Maybe Pumpkin didn't feel supported, maybe she felt isolated, maybe she felt betrayed, and the only people who truly understood her pain were the ones who had been around the situation for years. People close to the family, especially in small-town tight-knit circles, often know the real story long before the public does. And sometimes, emotional bonds form in the weirdest places. Between people who shared the same stress, the same memories, the same "I watched you suffer" moments. That's how fans are explaining it. But critics? They're asking the harsh questions. Why him? Why now? Why someone from Josh's side? And if the split was already messy, doesn't this pour gasoline on it? Because when kids are involved, the number one goal is stability. And stability is hard to build when your new partner could show up at the same family function as your ex. Think about the awkwardness. Birthdays, holidays, reunions, cookouts, family emergencies. Moments that should be about children become about tension. And with Mama June in the mix, the reaction could become a headline all by itself. Because Mama June is not exactly known for whispering her opinions. She's a matriarch who speaks loud, reacts fast, and often has a very protective, sometimes explosive energy when it comes to her daughters. If she feels Pumpkin is being judged unfairly, she might go to war defending her. But if she feels Pumpkin is risking the kids' peace or creating another scandal, she might come down hard. And that's what makes this story so unpredictable. Mama June's reaction could either cement Pumpkin's choice, or crack the family even deeper. Now here's where the timeline matters. Because people online are trying to piece together when this started. Was it after the separation became real? Or did it begin while Pumpkin and Josh were still trying to hold it together? If it's the first, fans will say, she's single, she can date who she wants. If it's the second, even emotionally, people will call it a betrayal. And in reality TV, perception often matters more than facts. Because once the audience decides a villain, every detail becomes proof. And once they decide a hero, every mistake becomes understandable. But Pumpkin's alleged confession is what pushed this story over the edge. Because a rumor is one thing. A storyline is another. But a confession? Real. And once it's real, it forces every other player to respond. Josh, the extended family, Alana, and Mama June. And that response is exactly what fans are waiting for. The most pressing question. What does this mean for Pumpkin and Josh's co-parenting relationship? Because co-parenting requires one thing above all: trust and boundaries. Even if love is gone, respect has to survive. You have to believe your ex won't sabotage you, won't poison the kids emotionally, won't turn every handoff into drama. But with a romance connected to Josh's relatives, those boundaries get blurry fast. If Josh feels embarrassed, betrayed, or disrespected, he might harden. He might communicate less. He might become more controlling. Or he might retaliate publicly, which in a reality TV family can mean interviews, posts, and leaked stories. And if Pumpkin feels judged, she might go defensive, double down, and bring her new partner closer, creating even more tension. That's how these things spiral. One choice becomes 10 reactions. 10 reactions become a storyline. And a storyline becomes a family fracture that lasts years. In the next part, we're going to dig deeper into 3 critical layers. First, the separation timeline. What fans noticed, what the show hinted at, and what social media clues suggest. Second, the infidelity whispers. Where they started, how they grew, and why they still matter now. And third, Pumpkin's new happiness narrative. Because people close to her claim she's trying to rebuild her life, not destroy anyone else's. But whether the public believes that, that's the real battle. Because in this universe, love is never simple. And loyalty is never quiet. Part 2, 2 out of 10. Now to truly understand why this alleged new relationship has triggered such an explosive reaction, we have to slow things down and look carefully at the timeline. Because in the world of reality TV, when something happens can matter just as much as what happens. For a long time, fans noticed that something felt off between Pumpkin and Josh. Even before any official separation was mentioned, their on-screen energy had changed. Scenes that once felt natural began to look forced. Conversations were shorter. Body language was distant. The playful teasing that used to define them was replaced with tension and silence. And for long-time viewers, silence is never accidental. Then came the subtle clues outside the show. Social media activity shifted. Fewer photos together. No casual couple selfies. No small life updates that married couples usually share without thinking. Instead, Pumpkin appeared more focused on herself, her kids, and her independence. Josh, meanwhile, seemed to fade into the background. Not gone, but no longer centered. This is usually the phase where a relationship is already breaking behind closed doors, even if the public label hasn't changed yet. And that's where speculation thrives. Fans began asking, were they already emotionally separated long before the paperwork? Were they together only for the cameras, the kids, or the show? And then the whispers started. At first, they were quiet. Comments buried deep in forums, TikTok theories, anonymous posts. People claimed there were trust issues. That Pumpkin felt unsupported. That Josh felt disrespected. No hard proof. Just patterns people thought they recognized. And in a family that has lived so much of their lives publicly, patterns are enough to ignite rumors. As those whispers grew louder, the marriage officially entered its breaking point. Once separation became public knowledge, many fans assumed the drama would cool down. After all, breakups happen. People move on. Especially in reality TV. But this is where the story takes its sharpest turn. Because moving on is one thing. Moving on within the same family orbit is something else entirely. That's why the claim that Pumpkin's new partner is related to Josh hit so hard. To some fans, it felt calculated, even if it wasn't. To others it felt messy but human. And to critics, it felt like crossing an invisible line that should never be crossed when children are involved. Supporters of Pumpkin argue this. Emotional connections don't follow clean rules. When a marriage collapses, people often lean on those who understand their pain firsthand. Someone who saw the stress, the arguments, the exhaustion. Someone who didn't need explanations. And in tight-knit families, that emotional proximity can turn into something deeper without intention. But critics see it very differently. They ask why Pumpkin didn't create distance. Why she didn't step completely outside Josh's family circle to start fresh. Why she chose a path that almost guarantees long-term tension. And they worry most about the kids, because children don't understand adult reasoning. They feel tension. They absorb awkwardness. They notice when rooms go quiet. And then there's Josh. Josh hasn't said much publicly, but silence can speak volumes. A man watching his ex-partner date someone connected to his own family might feel trapped. Like there's no escape, no safe space where he doesn't have to face the aftermath of the marriage. And when resentment builds quietly, it rarely stays quiet forever. Which brings us to Mama June. Because whether people love her or criticize her, one thing is consistent. Mama June reacts emotionally, loudly, and protectively. If she believes Pumpkin is finally finding happiness after years of responsibility, pressure, and sacrifice, she may defend her without hesitation. She may frame this as Pumpkin choosing herself for the first time. But if Mama June believes this relationship threatens the kid's stability or risks turning the family into another public disaster, her reaction could be fierce and unpredictable. And let's be honest, Mama June's reaction alone could become a storyline that overshadows everything else. At the center of all of this is one painful truth. This family doesn't get to handle trauma privately. Every decision becomes public property. Every emotion becomes content. And every mistake becomes permanent online. In part 3, we're going even deeper, into the infidelity rumors that never fully disappeared, the fan theories dividing social media, and the question no one can answer yet. Is this relationship a temporary rebound? Or the start of a long-term fracture that could permanently reshape the Mama June family?